Definitely keeping some of these questions in my question bank, and that is the biggest compliment. This is ACJC. Incredibly multi-layered paper, but somehow still not too difficult. Find out why in today's episode of PPR. Welcome back to another video. This is Yao from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest. And for today's Prelim paper review, it is a JC2 WA2 special, and it is from 2026 Anglo-Chinese Junior College, H2 Math, JC2 WA2. Now before I begin, these are the questions that I feel are insightful and probably worth your time to try. And if you would like to try this paper, you're invited to join my Telegram channel where I've uploaded a short summary along with the download link on my blog. Have a go at it, let me know how you did. And yes, I've started a tuition center. It's located in Boon Keng and ACJC. Regular classes are up and running and the full schedule can be found on my website. So what are you waiting for? Link is in the bio. Sign up today and I'll see you there. Firstly, I haven't been putting out too much content recently because I've been working on something new. I've been working on producing the 2025 Prelim paper question bank Excel sheet, where the Excel sheet will break down to you exactly which are the questions that I thought are very challenging and what are the skills required in the question. And all this will be given out for free to my students. And more importantly, recently I've been trying something new, which is producing a report up to 6 pages based on analyzing your answers and telling you where your strengths and weaknesses are and how to progress as you move towards your A levels. Again, for my students, it's free, and for any other students who would like to know my feedback on your paper catered to you, this will cost you $19.90. So wait no more, DM me right now and we'll see what I can do for you. Firstly, this paper was sent to me many weeks ago, but I haven't had time to get down to it because I've been tied down by a lot of different things. You will know I'm evolving right now as a tutor. I have games, I have Excel sheets, I have a lot of different reports, adding more and more dynamic layers to my students. And even though this paper was somewhat outdated to some of you, but I feel that a lot of the questions here are going to be very valuable to a lot of you. Why? Let's find out via my 3 matrices. Number 1, relevance. Number 2, insightfulness. Number 3, difficulty. Before I give an overall score and recommend to you the type of student who should try this paper. And of course, if I had a student who had to sit for this paper under exam condition, what would be a fair expectation of her from me in order for her to score an A in her actual A levels? Firstly, relevance. This is the clear strength of this paper. Number 1, they are testing you on integration from techniques to application and together with your sequence and series, and it kind of makes sense why they are doing this. And to be honest, every year they do this, I tell my students you have to be aware of the fact that your integration could be the summation of rectangle, and maybe at some point the summation of the rectangles using your number patterns, using your sequence and series may come out together with your integration. But in this paper, they did not do that. However, a lot of the questions here are going to be very relevant for your topical revision. If you look at the techniques tested of you in this paper, multi-layered, trigger identity is required, integration by substitution, then by parts. And it doesn't stop there. If you look at your application of integration, also multi-layered, your modulus graph, how do you deal with that? And then when you move on to your APGP, your classic GP contextual question. But instead of giving you money, now they give you drugs. And therefore, even for the most well-versed, you need a bit more time to decipher the story. And do we see this happening in your A levels? Obviously, almost all the time. These are some of the most classic questions that you find in your Prelim papers and in your A level papers as well. In fact, if you recall, I've reviewed the NYJC JC2 WA1 H2 Math paper. I said that was classic. This is the perfect complement to it. Whatever is not seen in that paper can be seen in this paper. And therefore, no doubt, the relevance of this paper will be given a higher than average, a very solid 8 out of that. Next, insightfulness. I already told you about the multi-layered questions, and I told you how extensive it is, how in-depth it is, how good of a coverage it does. And for students who have done your revision, this may not be the most insightful. Sure, they are multi-layered, you need to apply a variety of skills, but are these outside of your expectation? Not necessarily. The APGP, yes, the context is a bit different, but let's be real. You cannot count on the context to always be about money, interest rate, and whatnot. In one of the A level years, we saw a question on running, going back and forth your shuttle run. This paper, you see medication, which is quite common. In fact, it is one of the most common together with your differential equation. Do they give you much of a surprise? Not really. Especially if you have done enough revision. All this may surprise you, but you take it as, well, this is one of the less commonly seen practice questions. But ultimately, still a rather routine practice question. And to be honest, I felt that the questions could have went a bit further in terms of number patterns, your summation, or even your application of integration. No doubt, there are insights in this paper, but not spectacular. You'll be given a slightly above average 7 out of 10. Next, difficulty. I think this is a common theme across all WAs, especially in JC2. A lot of the questions that they test of you in your WA2 is meant to see whether you can get the techniques down, whether you are at least at the average competency level. No doubt, these questions offer you a bit of challenge in terms of the length, in terms of depth, in terms of coverage. And for a lot of you who have done your revision, it will seem like just a regurgitation, a slight reimagination of what you have seen in your practice packages, your revision packages. And therefore, just based on that, the difficulty should not be too high. But again, we have to remind ourselves, you have done all these revision packages, all these questions are coming from promo questions, are from prelim papers. And just by the nature of it coming from all these exam papers, it should be challenging. And on top of that, if you look at the time allocated to you, 45 minutes. To me, this 45 minutes, most of the time will be spent on your application of integration and your APGP question. And it's precisely because those questions require a bit more time, a bit more understanding, requires a bit more step, a lot more algebra involved, and therefore you have to be a bit more careful in your manipulation. But to say that this paper is unfair is unreal, but I can see the challenges, and hence the difficulty of this paper will be given only a slightly above average, 6.5 out of 10. Overall, I like this paper. A lot of value in this paper, especially if you use it with the recently reviewed 2026 NYJC JC2 WA1. That paper, no doubt more challenging, but at the same time, it gives you more time. This paper is a slightly of a tier lower, and it complements the other paper because whatever is not tested in the NYJC paper can be found here, especially in terms of your integration techniques and your application. If you can do both papers, in fact, if you need a topical revision to get a clear idea of where you actually stand for all these topics being tested, try both these papers together. If you like together as a time practice, you'll get a very wholesome and accurate picture of your skill level in all these topics being tested. However, specifically to the ACJC paper, are there weaknesses? Yes, I felt they could have gone a lot more. I felt that they could have made the question a bit more interesting. But then again, we have to remember, this is WA2, and therefore our goal is to find out whether you're at least part of the pack, whether you're near the mean in your normal distribution, as we have just learned recently. And this paper would definitely give you that. And hence, the overall score of this paper will be given a rather solid 7 out of 10. And if I had a student who had to sit for this paper under exam condition, a fair expectation of her would be 70% in order for her to score an A in her actual A levels. Finally, who would I recommend this paper to? I recommend this paper to every student out there who is looking for a topical revision on your integration technique and application together with your number sequence and APGP. This will seem like the commonly seen type of question that you would expect in your A levels and your prelim questions. And because of the depth and the coverage it offers to you, doing well for this paper would ensure that you are at least at the average competency level. Then maybe from here, you can try the harder papers such as the NYJC one, or you can purchase my Excel sheet where I've done all 17 JCs and list out for you all the different topics in the 2025 H2 math paper, and even rank them for you in terms of difficulty and highlight to you what are the insightful questions that you can try. Because believe me, a lot of the prelim questions are going to be at least slightly harder than this. I wouldn't say this is the bare minimum, but if you want to score at least a B in your A level paper or even your prelims, you have to do this very well. And hence, if you are an average student looking for one-time practice to act as a topical revision for your application of integration techniques, APGP, and number sequences, so that you know you can at least score a B in your A-level H2 math paper, this paper will be perfect for you. Alright, so we have come to the end of this prelim paper review of 2026 Anglo-Chinese Junior College H2 Math JC2 WA2. Now, if you like what I'm doing, follow me on TikTok, like my video, comment, and share with your friends. I'm sure this will help them. And for the students who like a more in-depth analysis of this paper, you're welcome to watch me on YouTube, where I upload more extensive and useful content to help you in your A-level journey. Because ultimately, I'm on my way to 10,000 followers. Nothing else. This is your love from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest. Take care.